This is Lollipop Chainsaw RePop. We're here on Xbox Series X. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. Juliet is back. The cheerleader zombie hunter has returned after, I guess, just over a decade at the current point in time. It was like 2012 when this first graced us on the 360. I played it back in the day. I had a fair bit of fun with it, and it's neat to see it return after, again, a very, very long period of time. It's colorful, it's vibrant, it's violent, it's gory, it's weird, it's quirky, it's completely unapologetic. It is just wildly weird. Some might find it a little cringy to some degree, I suppose, depending on, you know, how you feel about the gameplay and the style of it, but I really do quite enjoy this game. I had a fair bit of fun revisiting it and taking a look at it, especially since it has been so long since I had played this game. And yeah, you know, it's kind of interesting. As a remaster, essentially what they've done is they've bumped up the resolution and they've introduced the RePop mode. So I personally don't really get the RePop mode. Like it kind of like it removes certain elements of like the gore in that and kind of replaces it with very colorful effects, and there's some other adjustments they've made too in that regard, but yeah, I really don't quite get why you would play that over the original option that is present within the game. So yeah, that's just kind of your choices. I would highly recommend you instead just play the original version and kind of go from there. But, you know, the choice is up to you. There's different difficulty options. There's also kind of, I guess you would say, like a time attack. So if you kind of want to do it where you're sort of pressured by the time to get things done, you know, that's present here. You can also make, like, kind of score battles. Like, it's sort of like each map is like level is based, your scoring on how you do in the map or the level, and your performance gives you like a rating at the end, so that's something you can work towards. And then, yeah, time attack. They've expanded Juliet's sort of room in this one, and that's where you personalize your character. She's got a bunch of different outfits, she's got different hairstyles, she's got abilities that you can unlock that give her, you know, tougher strength or health. You've got different combos you can unlock to have her unleash differing moves that you're probably seeing while we're battling here. Yeah, there's actually quite a lot to this one under the hood. So we are getting a 4K resolution, 60 FPS. For the most part, it actually all runs really fine. There was like one level where it's a sort of weird arcade type thing that I noticed the performance dropping, but other than that, it all runs quite fine, I thought. It looks good, looks smooth, it's clean. We could have probably used a bump up for like textures and stuff like that at the same time. You know, I get that this is like sort of a quick remastering just to sort of bring it back. Now, it does have like some weird like bugs and stuff here. Like, I thought the QuickTime events were almost too easy, but I guess that's literally because auto QuickTime is on by default. And they've essentially rebalanced and made a lot of the stuff a lot easier to play in this one. There are lots of settings that can make it more like the original styling if you want that, but yeah, everything just felt a lot easier going and a lot more casual of a time, which I actually kind of enjoyed because I think this one's sort of meant to be fun and silly. Unless you go on those crazier difficulties, and you know, that's totally up to you. I should also mention that music-wise, there is a streamer mode, which I do appreciate quite a bit that is actually included in this, which is nice. Hopefully it works. The stream still isn't rendered yet at this point of recording this, so I don't know. But yeah, anyways, yeah, that's been added. Now, with that, the only original returning licensed track for this is Lollipop. So essentially, we've lost all of the musical tracks. I just wanted to show you the options too, and then some additional setting things that kind of just give you context. See the streamer mode, but yeah, here's where you can kind of change like the blast or auto aim, which is super aggressive, the QTE quick assist, stuff like that. in case you're wondering about settings, it's just kind of telling you all the different movement options. And I don't know if it got rid of all the instructional things, but like you literally have to use the how to like zombie stuff in order to actually like get context into a lot of the movesets in this game. It was really weird because like usually I remember having, I wouldn't say tutorialized info, but usually it would give you a heads up on like what certain things do and everything like that. Whereas that appears to be kind of gone in this one, so sometimes I was just sitting here being like, huh, what? But yeah, other than that, it's really not too bad. Like, it is a bit of a bummer that the tracks are gone, like licensed music, as that obviously was a lot of the atmosphere of the original game, but it's just nice to have this game playable. Although, again, with that, I will mention there were some smaller bugs here or there, nothing detrimental that wrecked the experience. It all ran fine, nothing stopped my progression, nothing was particularly painful, but there was, like, audio and stuff that kind of was overlapping, as to say, and there was some, like, slightly weirder segments or something, but I didn't really have any problems playing through this. It just kind of worked smoothly, and I was pretty happy with my time. It was a fun revisit for a game that I haven't, you know, experienced for over a decade. It was kind of nice just to sort of get back into the swing and the mix of the chaos. There's like tons of different outfits that you can get. It's going to take a while to grind towards all of these, but, you know, they give you lots of options, and then your health and your upgrades, and everything's permanent as you kind of go across your different, like, plays and stuff, and there's tons of different music items. Different chainsaws you can buy, there's different hair colors you can get, all kinds of different things to enjoy Juliet in unique ways, as to say. But yeah, I had fun with this. It's like, it's just about 5 hours long, I would say, the whole game, in case you are worried about like length and all that. But it's a pretty fun, relaxing time if you want to do something a little crazier. It is a hack and slash, so some people might find it a little bit more aggressive and or difficult, depending on your skill level and stuff. But, you know, it's that fun sort of vibe that was present from the original game back in the day. Like, you literally are playing as a, you know, a sexy cheerleader, as to say. She's a fun, crazy, quirky character. She's got her boyfriend Nick there on her hip as a, you know, dude that's missing a body. You know, he's body negative right now. But, like, you know, the references and stuff, too, are kind of funny in this. Because it's like, oh, and Juliet, she's got a family, too, and they're all crazy and whatnot. But it is hilarious as well playing this, because it's almost like a time capsule, where the humor very much... I feel like if you are someone jumping into this now, a lot of the references, you'll be like, huh? What? Because the references are kind of dated in that. But it's a fun time capsule of this era, like the 2010s, where this sort of stuff that it talks about, the jokes, the language and stuff, is very reminiscent of that time period. I don't know if that's aged the best for everyone in terms of like material and whatnot, but it definitely was interesting to dive back into this sort of thing and be like, oh wow, that's an interesting reference, or oh wow, that's an interesting choice of direction for that. And yeah, it's kind of neat because she's just she's fun and crazy, honestly. And like every part of this game is just filled to the brim with like chaotic craziness. And it's like some of it is a little ridiculous and silly, and some of it is kind of fun, and some of it's really engaging. Other parts of it are just bizarre. The boss fights are kind of creative and neat. There's actually some pretty big voice talent in this one, which is interesting. You look at the cast list, you're like, oh wow, yeah. I mean, obviously, the lead here, Tara Strong, really good performance. Lots of fun with this character. Like, she just goes all in as just this crazy... you know, it's her birthday too, her 18th birthday, and you know, she has to deal with all this insanity here at the school, and that's largely where you're at, is you're at the school, and you know, then you go to these different parts of it, and different parts of the town, and it does feel, though, like, upon replaying it, and having a lot more, like, age and experience, it is kind of, like, from a narrative perspective, I do feel it could have been a little stronger, as there's, like, some interesting random shifts in the characters. attitudes at certain points, but I think probably they wanted it to be larger, perhaps, and maybe they just didn't have that sort of option back in the day, so we're kind of just stuck with it as it is. Because it would have been neat, like originally, from what I understand, they were supposed to like remake this. I don't know if it was a scoping issue, or if it was because the fans wanted something that was classic and that original style. But it would have been cool to have a remake slash reimagining that maybe expanded the game a bit more, just in terms of like story, narrative, and missions. Because it really, to me, upon replay, feels like parts of this are just like missing. Like it all works as a cohesive experience for sure. There's no problem there at all. But I was kind of sitting there being like, it feels like something more was like planned or desired for this one. You also get different abilities as the game goes on. So Juliet right now, she's kind of at like a base level. So this is like the first level. Essentially, she's just got standardized things in terms of like she's got her chainsaw and stuff. But later on, you can use the chainsaw as like a vehicle of sorts, where that level's kind of a little dumb, and then you can like use the chainsaw. The chainsaw's also a phone, and that in itself is kind of fun. And video games, they really can be art. Yeah, it's just wacky, ridiculous. I'm trying to think of other things with the chainsaw, but I'm just, yeah, okay, you can have, like, it becomes like a gun thing, which has the ridiculous auto-aim. Just some examples there of some of the ways that the chainsaw is very versatile depending on the situation at play. It's kind of entertaining there. Post this on YouTube, like, talk about, like, being on Facebook and stuff, too. Like, it is really funny. Kind of like revisiting this and seeing the concepts and the discussion of it, like what the references are hilarious, because it is so its time. Like some stuff we don't even like, I don't think, interact with anymore or anything, and yeah, it's sort of fascinating, honestly. And in the game, it's just like, it's colorful, it's vibrant, it's ridiculous. I think I let that guy die, sadly. That's how you get, your who you save in the game matters too, because it'll impact your ending, by the way, just so you are aware. Like, make sure you are actually saving everyone if you can, but it's pretty easy to go back and, like, resave people, but you do gotta, like, replay levels, which can be kind of annoying if you don't want to do that. But the game's not terribly long either, so not the biggest pain in the world. But for me, kind of a fun revisit. I like the character. I think she's cool. I always enjoyed her. It's fun having the boyfriend as a head there on the side, and it's just kind of like, it's a weird, quirky, entertaining, weird game that I think the developers just had a lot of fun with. They didn't have any limitations. I'm not sure if a developer was to make a game like this today, I'm not exactly sure you would do it in this sort of, like, you wouldn't, I don't think you'd get away necessarily. Like, I'm sure you could make something like this, but I'm sure they would definitely be a lot more restrained on, like, what they're doing. I do hope that maybe this leads towards a sequel. Like, they talk a lot about other things, like she's a zombie hunter, but they talk about all these other things existing in the universe, that it might be a lot of fun to see her go around dealing with other creatures, and I don't know, I always thought this was absolutely fine as like a one-off, but I don't know, I wouldn't mind seeing a follow-up to this, honestly. Oh, and some of the text on the bottom of the screen seems to have like weird characters, I'm assuming from Japan, some Japanese characters on some of the subtitle dialogue, which is a bit odd. But that's just kind of something I noticed. Yeah, I don't know, like some of the stuff in this is like a little weird. Like there's a Combine that's like a little weird slow segment. You've got these like mini game segments which are a bit strange. Yeah, I don't know. Like personally for me, I think this game is fun. I think it's a blast. I think it's a good time. I know this isn't going to be something that everyone loves or is, sort of blown away by, but for me it was fun to revisit something that I had kind of enjoyed in like the late teenage years, I guess, and it's neat to just have this like available, because that's the biggest thing, right? Is like for gaming availability. It's like, sure, you could play this on, I guess the wow, these guys are really causing problems for me. Like, sure, you can play this on the 360. I don't know if it's still on PC or like anything like that. Steam. I mean, we got the new version, right? But like, you know, games like this do tend to disappear because of licensing, because of musical tracks, because of other things. You know, car games, cars being an issue for licensing, and like it is legitimately a problem that a lot of these games just kind of sadly vanish. And I don't know if I necessarily had the feeling to revisit Lollipop Chains at any point, but it's a really good excuse to. Like, it kind of, to me, it is sort of like a one and done kind of thing, but I think revisiting here kind of makes me feel like maybe other games too, where I'm like, oh, well, you know, it's fine replaying it once, I don't need to do it again, but sort of being like, huh, maybe it would be fun to revisit them, because you, like, kind of forget about segments of it, or you don't remember all the cool, like, sort of parts in that, and, like, it is legitimately quite interesting going back and seeing this sort of time capsule of an experience. But I would say it's a fun play. It really is. I think you can have a good time out of it. I think it's an okay amount of, like, value. Like, they've improved things. There's different replay modes you can do. Like, it controls fine. I didn't really have too many problems playing it. Like, I really didn't have problems playing this on the Series X. There was just some, like, quality of life polishing things, which I would have liked to see kind of improved upon. And, like, it looks like a 360 game. Like, it really does. Like, you can play this, and you can be like, yeah, it's not as clean and upgraded as it would have been to see. Like, RePop, I guess they have, like, bumped some things up a little bit more, so that might be of interest to you, but I like the original version if I'm going to come here and play, like, a remastered or something. I don't want it to be ridiculously changed from, you know, what I've enjoyed in the past, so the idea that that even is really kind of a big change here is to me a little bit strange. But, you know, I'm sure the developers, they wanted to maybe refresh things, to do something more modern, I guess, and maybe just put another flair on it, just something else. So it's cool that that is an option here, right? It's cool that that is an option. And, you know, I do, again, firmly believe, and I think you kind of see that here, there's so many games from, like, the 360 or the original Xbox of that era that would look so good if you just bump up the game with a resolution boost. Like, honestly, just cleaning up the resolution, if you can fix up some muddy textures, and these games, they still look pretty good. Because to some degree, it is more about gameplay mechanics than necessarily just, you know, how graphically good something is, and just giving them a little bit of a resolution cleanup can just make, like, the biggest difference for making these things available. So I really do appreciate this, because it just makes it available for hopefully the long term, especially with the element of them, like, I guess you would say, fixing or changing the songs up, making some of the songs available. I think that really is a great idea. I love that they've done this. So I appreciate that this exists, because I think it is something that is, like, fun and different and unique for its time. It's got a cool main character, a cool cast. I think you could call it a bit of a cult classic to a degree, because of, well, you know, it was actually sold decently well, I guess, the original, not too badly, and I think some people enjoy this one, have fun with it, and I don't know if it fully hits with the modern audience. I'd love to hear people that have never played it before, that are maybe younger, and taking a look at this and seeing what they think of it. But, you know, Juliet, she's fun, got, like, a sexy vibe going on, it's an enjoyable character, it's ridiculously over the top, it doesn't hold back on anything. I will admit some parts of it have not aged the best, and there were some elements that could have been a bit cleaner, but I'd say overall I'm very happy that this has returned, as it was kind of a game that I liked, and it's cool to see that people will be able to experience it for the first time, whether or not you miss it the first time around or whatnot. And yeah, it's cool to see that this game does exist and is available for people after so long, and available for myself, because it was I had a lovely time revisiting this game. Lollipop Chainsaw RePop is kind of fun and delightfully charming for me.